Viking Report, a weekly television roundup of the Minnesota Vikings 1975 National Football League campaign. Brought to you by Olympia Beer. Time to settle back in your favorite chair and enjoy some ice-cold Oli, because beer doesn't get any better. Hi, everybody. I'm Tony Parker, and this is the television edition of Viking Report. And here with us, of course, is our distinguished publisher, Karl Kassulske. Karl, the Vikings won number 9 in the Superdome in New Orleans last Sunday, and speaking as a fan, my reaction was I thought some of the guys were getting bored with the whole business.
Bored? You never get bored. It was just sweet to win.
Mm-hmm. That made it 9-0. There was never any doubt that they were going to win, no doubt before the game, during the game, or after the game. And what about it? Is it possible a guy could get bored?
Well, I don't know. It's always an exciting game, and anything can happen. New Orleans really couldn't do much with our excellent defense, and it was just really a sweet game to win.
So you say there's no such thing as boredom, huh?
No.
Even when it's that easy. They're going to win number 10 this week. You know that, don't you?
You never know anything for certain, Tony.
Well, all right. I'm trying to put you on a little bit here, and I know you're not going to give in. Okay. What about the New Orleans defense? I guess they didn't quit. They were for real. They were giving it everything all the way.
They came all the way.
Yeah. 20-7, and we got no points in the second half. Although, I wonder, seriously again, would Francis have thrown the footballs that were intercepted, those passes, if the game had been different, a different team, a different situation?
We might have played it a little more conservative, a little more down to the belt, but closer to the belt. But when you got that lead, you can take a few chances, and Francis is a gambler, and he likes to do that.
Would have been a terrible embarrassment to lose that game, right?
We don't think that way, Tony.
You don't even think that way. Well, I know one guy that doesn't think that way, and that's got to be today's guest, number 70, defensive captain Jim Marshall, who's a giant of a man who not only played 15 years of superb professional football, but a man who has some unusual outside activities and hobbies, and we're going to get a look at one of the most sensational of those. Jim, Karl, was one of the first players I met with the Minnesota Vikings, if not the first player, in the cold, frozen north at Bemidji in a training camp. And I've known him for a long time, as you have, and I think we're going to have a great day today with Jim here.
He gets better each and every game.
He is super. We'll be right back to talk to Jim Marshall in just a moment.
You can almost hear the rippling of the water, see hops and grains glowing in the sun. That's Olympia beer, crisp, clean, and tastes like no other beer in America.
Come on along and have a nice cold Oli one more time.
You owe yourself the best beer in the land.
Olympia. Beer doesn't get any better.
Our guest today, number 70, defensive captain Jim Marshall, who just corrected me about the fact that he's had 17 years of pro football. And I know of 15 of those, and they all have been great years. Jim, at your advanced age, you're playing your greatest football I think you've ever played. How does it happen? The guy keeps going. Is it the position? Are you the herder instead of the herdee, or what?
No, I've got this big machine in my basement, see? And it's got a little glass top over the top of it, and it fills up with a funny smoke-colored glass, and it just kind of rejuvenates me after every game.
I should have known better, Karl, than to ask him, right?
Well, you asked for it, Tony.
You guys played side by side, or at least front and back of each other for a number of years. Karl was telling me that he carried you all those years. Jim, how about that?
He certainly did. He certainly did. He made it possible for us to get back and sack the quarterback and do things like that. He even came in a couple of times and sacked him himself. He made some great plays.
What about New Orleans? You may have heard my crack about the fact that I thought maybe you guys were a little bit bored last Sunday, but seriously, what about that game and about the Superdome?
Well, I tell you, I never get bored winning. I kind of agree with Karl. I'd like to play Little Sisters of the Poor, 19 games in a row if we could win all 19 of them. So, as long as we're winning, I'm happy.
Some of the guys have said, thinking about not losing a game, that maybe it might be better to lose one. What do you think? How about that pressure?
I really don't think about it that way, and I don't think any of the other fellows do. I think we take it week to week. Each game is just like a new game, a fresh one to us, and we kind of approach this situation that way, see, because you don't want to start thinking ahead or thinking about what you've accomplished already. Those things kind of clutter up your mind. And
Bud Grant doesn't let you do that.
No, he won't let you do that.
How does it
let you
keep
do
you interested? Keep you worried about your job?
You know, sometimes we come in and we wonder whether we won that week or lost. You know, he's searching for perfection, and you know, he's pushing us in the direction that we can accomplish the most positive results, and so it doesn't allow us to.
You're
lay
always
back
looking
and-
for perfection in your play, aren't you, Jim?
Well, you know, I always try to, Carl.
You're your own worst critic.
Absolutely, and I think we all are.
That's
don't you?
true.
Jim, I know you're looking for the biggest thrill of them all yet, trying to win that big one in the Super Bowl, but this far in all those years, what are some of the things that stand out? First time down to the bowl, or?
No, I think if I had to actually pick out a football game that stands out, it was, let me see, I think it was last year or a year before last when we beat Los Angeles. I think it was a great football game.
Up here, playoff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Playoff game. They came in, and of course everyone expected them to win. I think everyone on the West Coast, all the critics, and we beat them. And you know, we felt very good about that game. And I think that was one of the highlights of my career.
The front four is a group thing, as you I know will be the first one to admit that it takes those four guys all doing mostly right things all the time. Let's take a look at front four action from the past season. We all know what a great year they're having, and I think, Jim, maybe we can pick a few things out that some people you know may not see, or it looks kind of easy sometimes maybe when all four of you guys are functioning that well, but I think an awful lot of things happen that we just don't know about.
Well, that was a tough one there. It looked like we had a tough time getting him down. This is our five-man rush. We're running what we call a twist here, and we put a lot of pressure on the quarterback. Got an interception there.
Jim, what about
pressure on too, Jim?
excuse me, Karl. What about hurries? They're just as important sometimes as sacks.
Oh, absolutely. That last play, you saw a hurry where we got in, and the quarterback had to get rid of the ball very quickly, and it caused an interception or a turnover.
Number 29, Karl Kassulske, was almost a super specialist at the blitz. Vikings are not blitzing that much this year.
Well, we it runs in strange patterns. Sometimes we blitz a lot, and sometimes we don't. Here you see Alan Page getting a great sack.
Jim, I often wonder, it looks like mayhem out there. Are you traffic control at all? How much do you talk about what's going to happen in there, or how much yelling is going on while you're doing what you're doing?
Well, we have a lot of feel for what each other is doing, and you know, where we're playing, and you know, where the other person's going to be. So you know, we can close up a lot of lanes, and you know, it helps us you know, make some good plays.
The Ranger got one there.
Oh yeah.
Doug.
Oh yeah.
You know, another thing I've noticed this year seems like more than I have. Maybe somebody just tipped me off to it looking for it. But you or Karl Eller on the other end are on pass defense, it seems a little more than usual.
Well, that's what we call our spy.
Spy.
There are plays sometimes when we exchange assignments with the linebacker, and our assignment is, of course, to cover that back coming out. So you see us drop back off the line and watch him, and then we take him wherever he goes.
In this film, and I don't know, I may have glanced away and I may have gone by already, there's a guy that grabs your jersey, Jim, in a very obvious holding. What about the holding problem?
Well, I think it's worse this year than it's ever been. They seem to be calling it much less. I think it's due to the fact that they want to keep the game speeded up for the fans' benefit, and they just aren't calling it as much as they usually do. I know that poor Alan Page has held just about every play of every football game that we've played so far.
Well, you know, I sometimes sympathize, though, with the offensive. There it is, right there. Whoops. I almost tore the jersey off.
Sure. You can see it there, and it wasn't called. And there are many plays like that you'll see. Running plays, passing plays alike. They're out there holding us, and I guess they feel that that's the best way they can stop us.
Oh, good effort, Jim.
Thank you, Karl.
Karl, it seems to me that just nobody's going to run wide in the Vikings, right?
Well, that's not always true. They have gotten around there, but we try to make it as tough for them as possible. We want to make them pay for it.
The Moose looked dynamite on that one.
Oh, yeah.
But it does seem that in every game, the strategy of the opposition on the Vikes is to run straight up the middle.
Well, I don't know. I guess maybe they feel that that's where they have the best chance of gaining some yardage. We certainly welcome the challenge.
Of course, a lot of that yardage is between the 20s, which is part of your strategy, right?
Absolutely.
Really? Ultimately?
It's a great play by Alan Page there.
Well, what makes it such a different situation? If you're on the 50-yard line, a guy may come through the middle there and get 10 from you. It happens, you know. It's not unusual. Why is that so different from when you're on the 20, Jim?
Well, you kind of tend to play it a little tighter the closer to, you know, your back gets to your goal line. And I think the defenses that we call, we try to give them something to take away something else, something that might be more dangerous. And I think that's pretty much the way that we play it. So you'll see them make sometimes much longer gains on certain plays in the middle of the field than you would, you know, when they get down closer to the goal line.
What about all that real estate behind you when you're at the 50 as against when you get closer to the goal? Less real estate that makes it, is that a slight advantage for the defense?
Well, you know, you always want to keep them as far away from the goal line as possible. So, you know, you're happy about that. But our defenses are set up so that they're called from the sidelines and they have everything figured out up in the press box, and they just tell us what to do down there, and we do it.
Get you on the phone and say, I want it this way, and you have to do it, huh?
Yeah.
I got to ask a guy your age, and I hate, sorry to keep mentioning that, Jim. I think
That's
you're
quite
36,
all right.
36 or 7 now, getting there.
I'm 37. I'll be 38 December 30th.
Super. What about the young kids coming in? They're bigger and better, aren't they?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, they have a much better, I think, coaching program now than they had when I started out playing, and you're getting bigger people. I think they're just better fed, something. They come in bigger and they're faster, quicker, a little smarter. So we have a good race out there, you know, trying to see whether the old guys are going to last long or whether those young guys are going to take over our jobs.
I wouldn't want to come out and challenge number 70 or number 29 when he was playing. You guys are too tough. Jim, as we said, does so many things that are not involved in football, like jumping out of airplanes and climbing mountains. We're going to look at some spectacular off-the-field activity from number 70 in just a minute after we take time out to watch this.
Put hops, grains, yeast, and water all together. With 99 years of skill, tradition, and dedication to quality, and you've got what we think is the best tasting beer you can buy. Crisp, clean, like no other beer in America. So when you want the very best, you owe yourself an Oli.
You owe yourself the best beer in the land.
Olympia. Beer doesn't get any better.
Jim Klobuchar, the Minneapolis Star, has authored a great book, Where the Wind Blows Bittersweet. The story of a snowmobiling expedition that took place several years ago in which Jim Marshall was involved and which turned into a tragedy in one respect in that one man of 16 lost his life. The others fortunately did survive a very, very bad and very serious situation. Jim, again, you know, you're a pro football player and you go out there and you get involved in something like this that really turned into a tragedy and could have been even more tragic. Why? You know, you've got a career to think about and to keep going. You could break a leg or break your neck.
I kind of hate to get philosophical on you, but you know, Teddy Roosevelt once said, far better it is to dare mighty things, to win glorious triumphs, even though checkered with failure, than to be ranked with those poor souls who neither enjoy much nor suffer much, for they live in that gray twilight that knows not victory nor defeat. And that's pretty much what, you know, guides me. I like to do things because they're things to do.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, if I enjoy them, I, you know, try to get involved
that way,
in them.
Jim, out there.
Yeah, it's life. I mean, if you don't do things, what good is it? You know.
Well, but even so, but a man in your career, I think, has to think twice even before he say he goes skiing, for example.
Why?
Break a leg, the career's over.
Well, I mean, you can break a leg stepping off the curb.
Well, I guess he's got me.
An automobile accident, driving, you
True.
know, to practice, or
True.
driving home, or just a leisurely Sunday activity or something. You can go out and get killed or break a leg or something like that. If you look at the statistics on accidents and things that happen around the homes, you know, it'd make you not want to even stay around your own house.
Like the man said, the motorist who heard all the accidents happened 10 blocks from home, moved.
Oh.
You know. Tell you what, I mentioned this skydiving. You saw a shot of Jim going out of an airplane. I don't think you'd ever done it until you got involved in that project, right?
Oh, yes. I've been jumping since 1964.
Oh, so there wasn't something the producer of that film
Oh,
threw at you.
absolutely not. No, that was, as a matter of fact, that was one of the things that they wanted me to get involved in and you know, do some more, because they felt that a lot of people would like to see exactly what you know, what we do during our off time, spare time.
Okay, this is a segment from a movie called The Big Game America by NFL Films. Take a look at this first. We'll be back to talk about it then. It's spectacular.
I was lying in bed and I looked out and I saw some big puffy clouds, and I thought to myself how beautiful to be completely free and unattached from anything on earth.
Okay, what's it like to be a bird, be out there flying like that? Seriously, what's it like?
Well, I tell you, it's the first time in your life you've ever been completely free and unattached from anything on this earth, and it's a very unique experience. It's very difficult to describe. You have absolutely no sensation of falling. It's more like being suspended in air and, you know, with a lot of wind blowing around you.
What about fear? I think I would be frightened. Was there any fear?
What are you going to be afraid of?
Oh, well, jumping out of an airplane, for one thing.
As beautiful as that was, and you think you'd have fear? Ah.
Apprehension, at least the first time. Okay, tell you what, we went back now into the film again. And Jim, I think that that you can explain some of the things as far as preparation of the equipment here and just what you are doing.
Okay. Well, this is a gentleman that did the actual shooting of my jumps. He jumped right with me, and he had a camera right on his helmet. And he's done a lot of filming for some famous people. I think he jumped with Johnny Carson and some of the other people.
Where did this take place?
This was in right outside of Tucson, Arizona, about 30 miles outside at a place called Marine Air Park.
Mm-hmm.
And you see us checking our equipment over, and we're checking our altimeter, setting it at 0. We have a stopwatch with us also that we use. This actually times your fall to make sure that you cross-check between the two in case one malfunctions.
Mm-hmm. And on this particular jump, what altitude did you jump? Do you remember?
Well, what else did we?
What altitude were you when you jumped?
Well, let me see. I think we were about 13.9, something like
And
that. 14,000 feet.
How far did you free fall before you pulled it?
Oh, about 12,000 feet.
Is that right?
Getting kind of close. Hope that altimeter reads properly.
We generally pull it about 2,000 feet, somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
So about anywhere from 1,800 to about 2,200 feet.
Mm-hmm. How many jumps to make the film?
We spent the entire day jumping there. I think I made about 8 or 10 jumps that day, and that's tough work.
Mm-hmm.
That's a super plane that we had there, though. It could take off in about 25 yards. It could go over, I think, a 16-foot obstacle or something.
Mm-hmm.
So they use it for smoke jumpers for getting in and out of tight places. It's all engine and, a little body back there.
You were jumping at a target, I presume, for the sake of the film or nothing else?
Well, yeah, we were spotting to jump right over the air park because we had some, of course, cameras on us down at the bottom, so we had to be pretty accurate. You can see down there, that's the spot that I'm jumping for, that little little white thing down there.
We'll see you coming down with the chute, and of course you can guide that thing pretty much. There you are.
Yeah.
Pretty much right on the spot, can't you?
Oh, yeah.
What about the sudden winds when that thing's open?
Well, you get a nice. It kind of grabs you, pulls at you there. If you don't have your straps adjusted correctly, I tell you, it'll make you send your voice up a few.
You say the guy filming this was the man you were with, and the camera is in his helmet.
Yeah. All he has to do is look at me. He has a little device on his helmet that's kind of like a gun sight. And when he looks at that, and the crosshairs have me right in between, right in the center, it'd be very much like shooting a deer or something. He's doing all the film work. I had a little problem there. I had my reserve parachute a little high, and as as I was coming down, I started to oscillate a lot. I was moving around quite a bit more than I wanted to. Here you see some turns and flips, and it just gives you kind of an idea of how it would be if you were just flipping over or turning around, doing various maneuvers in what they term a series.
Do you get nervous, Jim?
No, I generally don't get nervous. I get a little apprehensive sometimes if we have some high winds or if there's some aircraft in the area. I always have this fear of coming down on top of a helicopter, you know, and getting chopped up into hamburger or something.
Are you pretty well oriented with the ground when you're spinning like that?
Oh, absolutely. It looks like you're turning the ground rather than the ground moving. And you have no ground rush. There's no, when you start getting ground rush, generally you're under 1,000 feet and
you're in trouble.
You're in trouble. You're in trouble. You know, you're falling at about 174 feet per second or 120 miles an hour. So you know that when you get under 1,000 feet in 5 seconds, you will hit the ground. And sometimes it takes about 3.5 to 4 seconds for your parachute to open.
Now, that landing might not look too tough here, but you hit with a pretty good jolt. This slow-mo may make it look a little bit, you know, soft, but pretty hard jolt, isn't it?
Yeah, well, you know, that was a very, very hot day, and I was very tired at that particular point, and when my legs touched the ground, man, I was ready to collapse. And you'll see me lay here for a long time, I think.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Let me lay this on you, and I'm not trying to be facetious. You and Karl may laugh at this, but would an ordinary person take a beating in a landing like that? I mean a guy who's not an athlete and who's not in real good shape.
We're all ordinary people.
No, we're not.
You know, yes, we are.
You got to be in pretty good shape to take that jolt, though, I think.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, it's like anything else. You have to be in good physical condition, you know, before you attempt anything that's going to require any of your physical prowess.
Yeah. Well, Jim, it's been a pleasure to have you back here. It's been some great years, and of course, I know we got some great ones ahead of us. Win number 10 this week, and then maybe we get the big one.
Well, you know, that's what we're all looking for. We don't think about it kind of that way. We're
One
just
week
kind
at a
of one
time.
week at a time, and you know, everything will work out in the end.
Terrific. Thanks for taking the time to come down.
And thank you very much for having me down. It's really been an enjoyable experience for me, seeing my old buddy here
All
again.
right. Well, Tony, the Vikings are favored again this week, but I guess that should be expected. I'm sure this Dan Fouts is going to do his best to turn things around for San Diego, but I think it's too tough to handle.
Well, Dan is a typical young NFL quarterback. He has had some injury problems, but when he's on, he's tough. And they've got who behind him? Jesse Freitas and
He can
Bobby
throw that
Douglas is
apple, I'll
over
tell
there.
you, that's right.
Yeah, and Bobby Douglas, the old Chicago Bear Mauler, is on the squad, and they've run him at various positions, and they've gone to him to relieve Fouts at quarterback when Fouts has been hurt, so we could see old Douglas again.
Oh, Bobby,
you remember
I'll
him,
tell
don't you?
Yes, I do.
Grab on and yell for help with Bobby Douglas.
He's a big dude, I'll tell you, for a quarterback especially.
Yeah. Well, you know, you guys always give it to me about taking these things lightly, so I won't. They're going to be tough. They're out there to win a game, too, and the Vikes got to go for number 10 real strong.
Every week is a new challenge.
Okay. And we'll see you again next week at the same time. So long. Join us again next week for the television edition of Viking Report, brought to you by the folks at the Olympia Brewing Company. Come on along and have yourself an oldie, because beer doesn't get any better.